Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be back with another Young Indian, part of the Voice of the Young series. Right now, we have with us Mohan Sarkar. He's doing very many interesting things. Let's listen to him. Over to you, Mohan.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this nice opportunity to talk about. So this is special since we are young and there are very less people to listen to us. And it's because it's thought that we have less experience. So I'll start with my introduction. I am Mohan. I'm from West Bengal, and I'm currently pursuing my PhD from Center for Climate Studies, IIT Bombay. I am a second year PhD student, and I am working with Professor Pennan and Professor Indujit. And my topic is mainly groundwater management issues. So I am currently working on detecting groundwater sources. So suppose you have different sources that are contributing to groundwater. So I am mainly working on those, and I am quantifying mainly. So how much contribution is coming from where, and so yeah. So that is very brief. And
so let's listen to your story. How did you get here, and so on. So tell us more.
Yeah. So if I start with from my basic education, so I come from a very small village, so that is in West Bengal, and I did my fundamental education from there. So schooling was in that region, from that region also. Then I from 12 I took humanities and social science. So geography was my favorite subject from school, and then in class 12 I got more interested in geography. Then I took that as my honors subject, and I was first class first in my university. So from
Which
there,
university? Which university was this?
So it was West Bengal State University. So it was newly founded, and then from there I got into Vishwabharati Shantiniketan. So there I pursued my master's degree. So that is very special for me, not because of just academic reason. So from there uh, I I grew my interest in Rabindra Sangeet also, and I started loving violin. So my violin journey, my musical journey started from Vishwabharati Shantiniketan. So that place is very special for me. And from there, so during that period, COVID came, and during the last semester, the lockdown was there. So we all had to come to home, and then we were sitting in home doing nothing, and there was no preparation from all the sides. So since this was new for the professors also and for us, so first few months were there to understand how to cope up with the current situations. So yeah, so it took some time to pass out, or so after that I during that period I was preparing for GRF also, because I wanted to be in academia, so I wanted to do research. So I was preparing for NET, so that is National Eligibility Test. So if I uh, pass that exam, then I will be able to be a professor, and I can get fellowship also. So I qualified for that exam, and I am fully funded by UGC. So my current PhD program is fully funded by UGC.
Okay. But tell us about your college life and all. We are interested.
Yeah. So my college life, it was my local area. So it's a small college. So my geography journey of my geography so started from school, but we go deeper in when we go into bachelor's. So in geography we have two like broad division. So one is humanistic geography, and one is physical geography. So humanistic geography deals with the human perspective. So how culture developed, how how people deal with nature. So this thing is there, and another perspective, that is physical geography. So that mostly deals with the formation of rivers, precipitation, how precipitation occurs, how land forms. So during this time, I mostly enjoyed the physical geography part, and there the part comes surveying. So you can survey a river and how the river cross section changes with time, and how river flow changes the course of a river. So all these things we learned from my bachelor's. So, and we had good friend also that time. So we enjoyed also at that time. Simultaneously, we have good academic record also. So yeah, that time I mentioned earlier also that I was first class first in my university. So that was.
So congratulations. That's always a great achievement. All right, great.
Yes,
And now,
actually.
in your village, you were learning in Bengali, right?
Yes, sir. I am from. My medium is Bengali.
And then in college?
Till college, I pursued my education in Bengali. Then for masters, I did in English.
Oh, I see. So college was also in Bengali.
Yeah, it was in Bengali.
So you had to learn English in masters, or you already were good at it?
I was already good at it. Like, so from bachelor's, since I knew that I had to do it in English, so simultaneously I was doing all the things in English. So I used to read English books and all. So it was not very tough for me when I got into masters. So.
All right, wonderful. All right, let's continue. So, masters, of course, Vishwa Bharati is a very special place. But tell us about it, because you are the first person in my 600 so people who went there. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so Vishwardi, I didn't know that I can do a master degree from there, but one of my senior, he got a chance to do masters there. So he told me that it's possible. So I gave the entrance test, admission test. So there also I performed well. So I got that opportunity, and it was my first time I was staying out of my home. So it was very, for the first time I was feeling bad. I had to leave my home from my mom, my parents and all. So but when I went there, so yeah, but the culture, that the environment that is there, it's very special. So it's like you can feel every season there, from monsoon to summer to uh, winter, everything. So we had the department is called Padma Bhavan. So it's like, so the architecture is also very special there. If you go there, you have a different architecture for different departments. So it was designed at that time so it was founded by Rabindranath Tagore also, because when he got Nobel Prize, he founded that Vishwati Shantiniketan using that money. So that has a very different kind of architecture also. So we so from there I learned. So Vishwardi has that region. It's the topography is a bit different. Like when I was at my home, it was a flat land, but when I went there, it was bit of a plateau land, and the topography was controlled by it, and like it was a lateritic soil. So it was first time I was there, so I was very enthusiastic that I need to see this landforms and all, because I had my degree, like specialization in physical geography and fluvial geomorphology. So the small rivers, fast order streams, they originates from there, and from Chotanagpur plateau is there. So the whole region is created by those small rivers. So on the land, you will find small particles of laterite. So it's very exciting to go through that region, and there was forest. So you can go through that. And another thing I want to mention, that Rabindranath Tagore also worked on how local people can get benefited from that university. So we have so that is called Posh Mela. So that is one fair organized by our university. So there, from local people come, and they will make things and handcrafts and everything, and they will sell that. And from cultural perspective, music was very important for that time, because from different parts, different baul sangit it's called, people will come and they will compete there and show their talent. So it's like you are living in a ecosystem where you can understand both the physical aspects of that region as well as the cultural parts. So how local people can interact with you and how they are. So tribal people, tribal communities are also there. So they were basically sustaining based on collecting things like gathering. They used to come to our campus to collect dry woods. So so it's a nice experience to be there. You can feel the modernism also in culture and all, but you can see the like previous how we have survived. So
all right. So after that, what motivated you to get a PhD? Because that's a question that many people ask. What was the reason for your choice? I mean, you could have got a job, but you didn't. So what is the reason?
so from my bachelor's, I wanted to be in research. So I always prepared myself, and it was my also like dream to be a teacher. So I just think so if I become a good researcher, I will become a good teacher. So that is so if I have that, if I grow that power capability in me, then myself, then I can help other also. So because when you do research, you gather a lot of knowledge, and at last it will get into when I'll get in some touch with my students, so I can transfer that in a good way. So that was my objective. So that is why I never prepared for a job, to be honest. Like when I was at home, I was sitting there for 1.5 years or 2 years, but I never prepared for job, but I was preparing myself for research. So that is why I was preparing for NET exam and all. So I also scored good in that exam.
Okay, good. All right, wonderful. Okay, tell us about your research.
Yeah, so currently I am working, as I mentioned, that groundwater I'm working on. Groundwater contribution of different sources that are there. So there is a problem regarding this groundwater estimation. So how much water we have. As we know that after agriculture revolution, there is so much groundwater abstraction, and it's very hard to manage and to put cap on people that don't use groundwater too much, because everywhere there's pump, electrical pump, diesel pump, everywhere it's there. So people will extract water based on their requirements. But the problem is there that that groundwater, it's depleting too much. So if we see in the northwestern part of India, Punjab, Haryana, all this, and the Ganga plain. So since it has a alluvium region, so we will see a lot of agriculture activities. So and most of the Indian food is supplied from that region. So obviously, since this is high agriculture region, so that area has a very high groundwater abstraction. But that is causing a huge problem, because recent some studies have found that groundwater is depleting at a very fast rate. So after a few years, there will be no water in that region, and if the water is getting richer from that shallow or irrigation water, that will have health implication or health problem issues for people, because that shallow groundwater that you are taking up, or for drinking purpose, if it's infiltrating to deeper groundwater, then these pesticides and all these things are going in, and that you are taking up again. So it has a multifold problem to people for groundwater, from hydrological perspective, from health, and like food security. All these things come together. So I am trying to quantify these things. Suppose you have a river, canal, so and groundwater is being recharged from, if groundwater is being recharged from winter precipitation, summer precipitation, so how much contribution is coming from them. So there is problem regarding quantification, because some few approaches are there. So you can have a mass balance approach where you have certain input and you have this much in outputs. So based on that, you can quantify. So you have data sources like remote sensing data are there. One of them is GRACE. So that has that based on mass of art. So it detects how much changes are there in time. So it assumes that art mass is same, only changes is due to water. So if you have a change in mass, so that will detect that there is a, so if it's high, then it will consider that there is more water, and if it's low gravity, then it will consider that there is less water. So, but that there is a problem that it has a single value. It will give you a single value on 10,000 square kilometer.
That's
so,
too much.
Yeah. So you cannot manage their water at single point. Like at regional scale, it's very problematic to manage water.
Yeah.
So yeah, and another approach is that is groundwater modeling, but it's very hard to implement on a larger scale. So that is why I'm working on isotope based approach. So it's a tracer that helps to identify groundwater sources. So using that, I'm working on India scale or India subcontinent scale, so that it will have implication on local scale also and at a larger scale. So you will have an idea of what is happening all over India or at a basin level, also at small level. So if you go deeper, then also you will have an idea that what's happening there. So based on that, you can manage water. That if water is not coming from a pond, then if you dig a pond and that won't recharge the groundwater. So first, it's very important to understand or quantify where the water is coming from. Yeah. So that is my job, that I will quantify that, how much water is getting contributed. Yeah. And then we'll try to manage that manage water here. Then you will have more groundwater.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I think you pointed out the problems very clearly, but I'm just curious, in a state like Assam, do you think there's groundwater depletion going on there?
Assam, sir, it's in some Assam, some part is alluvium is there, that is that Brahmaputra River Valley.
Yeah.
So in other parts there is like Himalayan part is there, and some plateau region is there. So there will have water, spring water will be there. So spring shades. So and the problem there is CGWB normally monitor groundwaters. So very few groundwater monitoring stations are there. Yeah. So yeah, I think their groundwater depletion problem is there, because it's also rice cultivation is there.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. So wherever you are growing rice or wheat, with the green revolution technology, you are likely to have groundwater depletion.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think it's a point that people should understand. As I think I was talking to you last time, I would say, listen, when you eat rice and wheat, you are actually drinking groundwater.
Yes.
Yes, it's not that you are eating rice and wheat, you are actually drinking groundwater. And we might even begin to think of like we talk of the carbon footprint. I know there is a water footprint for every crop, but it hasn't become public. And we need to put it in the context of groundwater depletion. This is your groundwater footprint.
Yes.
This is by how much it's depleting. Because, the depletion, groundwater footprint, if it is sustainable, then there's no issue of it.
Yes.
If it is sustainable, there's no issue. But the issue is when it's depletion. So I think we need, of course, you are in measuring, but somebody should actually put together the groundwater footprint of one standard meal, one standard roti, chawal, whatever, Bengalis eat rice, or whatever, 2 rotis and I don't think the vegetables, they really deplete the groundwater, right? We need to understand this difference. Is it really rice and wheat? Or is it if you grow the vegetables like potatoes, cauliflower, carrots, are they also depleting groundwater? Is dal depleting groundwater? I think I would be interested in it. For example, the issue of sugarcane in Vidarbha.
Yes, sir.
Is that a depletion problem, or is it a salinity problem, or is it both? How is it? I think even I don't understand it. What is going on there? And for example, in Kutch, on the border of Gujarat, there the salinity is coming in because you deplete the deplete the groundwater.
Yes, sir.
And the salinity comes from there. But what's happening in Vidarbha and all this, I think some people should put it in simpler language so that people can understand that this is one of the scarce natural resources and that we are actually playing havoc with it. Right? If we are exporting rice, we are exporting groundwater.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's a water carrier, right? It's just rice is a heavy water carrier. So when you're exporting rice, you are in effect exporting your groundwater.
Yes, sir.
I think these messages should be clearer to people. I mean, I know it, okay, that look, you are not exporting rice, you are exporting your groundwater. That is the key constrained natural resource. But the rest of it is fertilizer, which you can reproduce from the oil. But that's a separate story. But we are depleting, what we are depleting is our groundwater. And we are not pricing it in the export price.
Yes, sir.
It's not in there because we don't charge for the groundwater to the farmers, so they are not putting it in the price. And up the chain in the export, we are not putting it. I think some such message. I mean, of course, I know your PhD is very technical, and it has to be very technical because it's a PhD, and it has to be very narrowly defined as how to measure and this and that. But I think the bigger picture of groundwater depletion through consumption, because one of my messages is not about climate change, but just about consumption, pollution or depletion, is that it really depends on our consumption patterns.
Yes, sir.
Okay? There is no such thing as protecting the environment. It's just that we are using the environment to produce our consumer goods.
Yes, sir.
It's as simple as that. We are what you're saying is groundwater we are using to produce our food. Right? It's one of the key inputs. Okay, let me stop talking. Let's listen to you.
Yes, sir. So some approaches are there, like so to measure how much water is there, or so there is some approach that how much water recharge is there. So suppose you have 100 unit of groundwater recharge and how much you are extracting. So suppose you have old water, like that water get into groundwater 500 years ago or 1000 years ago. So that goes so deep. Normally, what happens, we extract shallow groundwater. So there is a recycling that if you get that water out and then again through irrigation and it rain and all these things, it gets down. So but when and we can hear that the depth of the well is going down, like so you need to dig more to get water. So that means that your level of water is going down and you're extracting old waters.
Yes.
So that were never used actually.
Yes.
So now so you are taking the like your wealth that was totally there, that was never touched.
Yeah.
So now you are extracting that. So that is a problem, because if you extract that also, that is why salinization, all these things come. So if you go below a certain level, this water salinization, all these problems will come. So that issue is also there. So like then this salinization of crops or field is also there. So you need to put sugar or something. You need to, I forgot that when over irrigation is there, the field also get ionized. So then you need to put extra fertilizer to get rid of that. So we need to focus on this sustainable approach, how we can manage. So it shouldn't come from us only. So multiple stakeholders should be there. Those who are practicing, their views are very important because they are at field, and all of our perspective, because we understand it technically. So we shouldn't be away from them. With them, we should manage.
Yeah.
Those who are at field.
Would you be able to say that if the well is more than 100 feet deep, then we are looking at old water? Is there such a rough number?
Yes, sir. In alluvium plain, if you are going more than 100 meter, it's considered to be deep groundwater. So,
meter? 100 meters. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So it's defined. Recently, a paper was published in Nature. So they have defined it as 100 meter. So if you go below that, so it varies. Suppose you have hard rock, like rocky surface, then their water goes through cracks. So so through cracks it will go down. So there is different kind of flow system. So that is called, one is piston flow, one is preferential flow. So in alluvium soil, you have layers of water. So suppose the oldest water will be in the lowest part. Then as precipitation will happen, water will be like this. But if you have that rocky surface and all, so water get mixed. So here in the rocky surface, in the rocky region, it's very tough to say that it's old water, because through some cracks, fractures, water will come and will get mixed with the old water.
Okay, all right. It's complicated, I understand. It's not something that we can boil down to a few sentences.
Yes,
or
sir.
words. I understand it's complicated. And we still don't have a very good way even to measure it, because you are still looking to measure it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
They're all approximations. Right now, what we have is approximations. Right?
Yes, sir. It's all hydrological modeling, all that come out at world level. So those are all have some uncertainty that this much. So there is a variation that you put a value and plus minus this much. So that is very high, because it's very tough to estimate how much water is there.
I remember looking at the data for India some years back, and I found that it is incomplete and outdated.
Yes, sir. CGWB measures the depth to groundwater. So how much water is at how much meter you can find the water. But data, it's very. We need more good quality data. And monitoring station, they should be regularly monitored. Then we can have some good management practice also, because if we can't measure, then it's not possible to manage them also.
Okay. All right. So you had, your journey is very clear and your future is very clear. What advice do you have for young people? Because you have come through a tough journey. Let's be honest about it. You didn't come from a privileged background. You've come from a tough journey and you have succeeded. So what tips do you have for young people?
So from my side, I would say that if you love something, you should pursue that. So whatever may be the situation, you should go for that. That is my advice.
And you should do it even if your parents don't understand what you are doing.
Yes, sir. My parents, they don't understand what I'm doing. But I just say that I try to make them understand a very simple language, that I'm just doing this. So,
I had actually asked I had Vidped with another young guy, and he basically was saying that his parents didn't quite understand what he was doing in his bachelor's and master's and all, and now he's doing research. So I asked him that, how is it for you now? And he said, oh, now they are happy. Because I said, why? He said, now they say, beta professor ban gaya. That's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, they think that.
Now, what is a professor going to do? That is up to the professor. My son has become a professor. Okay, fine, I understand what is a professor. Whether he's doing research or he's not doing research, but he's sitting with professors, he's talking to professors. I know what is a professor. My son has become a professor. So I think that's the explanation you should give, that I'm a professor.
Yeah. So I can't explain what is a PhD or anything. So I just say that my mom sometimes can't explain to others what I'm doing. So he's like, so he's just saying, so we call it so my mom said that he's doing gobeshona. So it's like Bengali word of research. So she just say that he is doing gobeshona. And she can't say more that how did he got there. So it's very good. I found it very good that it's okay, but my mom is happy.
Yeah, she is happy. She should say, my son has become professor. Okay, good. Yeah. Everybody knows what is professor. Don't say teacher, because teacher means
Yes,
high
sir.
school, professor means senior man. Okay, fine, good. Anything else you want to add here?
Yes, sir. That this is the same thing. That if you love something, you should pursue that. That
Okay,
is
all right. Wonderful. Okay. So thank you, Mohan. Last time,
thank you,
we
sir.
had all these internet glitches.
Yes, sir.
Today, it's all free. All has worked well. Thank you so much. It's a very important topic that you are involved in. And groundwater, many people don't understand the importance of water.
Yes, sir.
And apart, they think only of drinking water. But
Yes, sir.
it's water for human consumption is what, 10% of the total water use, maybe. And it's really not our biggest issue. And we are going to perhaps face international disputes with our neighbors.
Yes, sir.
I talked to a woman who is interested in hydrology, Nepal and India, and the diplomacy of the hydrology.
Yes, sir.
And we are surely going to, we have some diplomacy with Bangladesh on Tista.
Yes, sir.
And we have a lack of diplomacy with Pakistan
Yes, sir.
on the Faraka barrage, right? We have some fights with them, and
Yes, sir.
some people say the next fight between India and Pakistan may be on water.
So that issue escalated once when there was an attack on India, so that they told that they will block the water of Satluj. That part, some issues were there. So because the water comes from that part and it goes to Pakistan. So yes, and that water boundary issue, transboundary issue, it's already present at national level also.
Yeah,
So
it is. Yeah, so I think people should stop thinking of other reasons only, that water is both a strategic input. Should we
yes,
export water through rice? Should we have, what's going to happen with the neighbors, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, where we have water issues? How to resolve our own, plus how to export and how to have national security, I think, and not just focus on drinking water.
yes, sir. Water is going to be a big geopolitical tool to, because already China has started capturing the Arunachal Pradesh region because Brahmaputra has a greater contribution to.
Yeah. So with all our neighbors, I guess not with Bhutan, but I don't know whether there's any water issue with Bhutan, but with China, Nepal, Bangladesh,
Yes,
Pakistan, these are all geopolitical issues, and they are really natural resource based. And increasingly, as we conserve our natural resource, there will be issues. So I just want to alert the viewers that, look, this is not just a technical matter on how you're estimating groundwater. We need to have clearer methods to do it, obviously. But there's a reason we need that, and that is that we need to understand our resource, how to use it, how to maximize its potential, and not to degrade it. Not to degrade it. It's very important. Okay, anything else you want to add here, Mohan?
yes, sir.
All right, good. So let's end it here. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.